This concert is presented as part of the Twin Cities Iranian Culture Festival. This festival is produced by the Twin Cities Iranian Culture Collective, a non-political and non-religious non-profit made up of all local Iranian and non-Iranian Americans with the purpose of presenting Iranian culture to build a bridge for better understanding among communities. You can visit the festival website at twincitiesiranianculturefestival.com to find out all of our activities, including Talk Tomorrow by Professor Van Cole about his new translation of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. We also have recordings of several other talks and concerts, plus virtual art, photo galleries, virtual tea house, and more. So, Minnesotan Dan Rein studied Iranian music with Iranian masters in US, Canada, and Iran. He collaborated with percussionist Chris Gray to create improvisation based on Iranian traditional music. Dan is the recipient of grant from Minnesota State Arts Board and the Joram Foundation.
So welcome everybody to the Iranian Culture Week. And one of the joys of COVID is we get airplanes going overhead. And that's actually part of our music, right, Chris? But we want to thank the people of the Iranian Culture Week, all the organizers who've put all this together. And also want to thank Reed and Josh who are doing our camera work and our sound. We're sitting in Northeast in Reed's backyard, and he's so kind to host us. So we're actually going to play some music for you. Chris and I used to play at Gandhi Mahal together. And we started, once I saw Chris play the regular drum set, which is not a traditional Iranian thing, but I thought, you know, this could just work if I put a mic on my Setar. And so most times you think of a drummer as an accompanist. Well, that's not the case here tonight. Chris is actually a collaborator. We actually play off of each other. We do not have any idea what we're going to play. We choose a mode, which is my job here, I guess, since I know the Iranian music. But whatever we play, we will reference, I sometimes reference Iranian melodies, but it's all improvised. So since it's approaching nighttime, you know, I thought we'd start with, you know, the mother of Iranian modes, Daska Shur. And so we'll see you in a little while. Our pieces last, what, anywhere from 12 to 18 minutes long. So sit back. I hope you all enjoy. Thank you. So that was a little improvisation in Daska Shur, perfect for the night. And we, I need to mention again, Reed and Josh have created this beautiful setting for us to play in. And one of the beauties of Iranian music is its relationship to nature. So it's getting to sitting out here and playing with it in this environment is only inspiring. And I'm going to retune, but I'm not sure what I'm going to retune. And then we'll do another piece. Huh? I was kind of thinking of that. Maybe I'll say a few words. Get that up. Okay, I guess we've decided, since we have a few audience members here, some friends, and one of them is Liz Draper, who's a bass player. Both Chris and I have played with, and many, many other musicians in the Twin Cities have played with. And Chris and I started this improvisation, and we decided to call it Liz Draper's Favorite, because Liz doesn't really like major key. And she didn't know it, but one time I was here on one of the furthest tip of the western United States, up on the Olympic Peninsula, on an island, San Juan Island. And I get a call in the morning. No, it was a text. It was a text. Dan, because it normally Sunday morning would be my radio show. Dan, what's with all this major key stuff? And so it led into this little improvisation. And for Iranians, it's in Daska Mahur, which parts of it are in a major key. But there are some modulations, and I'm never sure when I do them and where they go. But this is Liz Draper's Favorite. Thanks, everybody. Liz Draper's family. And I guess there's Q&A now?
That's correct. If attendees, if you would like to ask a question, please use the raise your hand function on the side there. And if you can't find that, you can post your question in the chat. However, we would prefer that you raise your hand. Okay, we have one already from Artemir, and you are unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Dan, it's Rich. Hi.
Hey, hi, Rich.
So first of all, I just wanted to comment that with all due respect to the great Liz Draper, the fans want more Major. That was absolutely beautiful. So thank you. My question is for Chris. Chris, how did you, think about doing this, and how do you approach your role?
Hold on, Rich.
Kind of music. Okay.
Oh dear.
Thought about doing this in your approach.
Hi, Chris. So I'm a friend of Dan's. My question is, how do you think about approaching this music? I'm guessing your background is pretty different than classical Iranian music. And when you first started doing this, how did you think about engaging?
So I approached it originally. I played a doumbek and at Gandhi Mahal with Dan, and did that for a few months, and then we decided to try a full drum set.
Okay. Any other questions, or was that Rich? Was that?
Can you still hear me? Yeah. No, I'm just interested. Musically, Chris. Not like how did you get started? Just in terms of logistics, of just musically. I mean, was this foreign to you, and how did you first start thinking about? Because you seem so comfortable collaborating musically with Dan. Was it something that was foreign to you, or you just picked it up right away? Or I'm interested in how you kind of approached it musically.
So I guess I'd say I approached it from sort of an improvisational standpoint of, not trying to analyze too much about the meters or time, just sort of feed off of what Dan is doing, and use my background in the drum world of playing lots of different settings, and just kind of let my instincts take the lead, I guess, from where I'm coming from. Kind of fall back on the instincts and play off of one another.
Okay. Any other questions? Go ahead and raise your hand. Or I do see, okay, from Adam R. in the chat, he asks for Dan. Hold on, I'll wait till you pass that back. Okay, Dan. Adam asks, you've talked about modalities, sweet and sour. Does that relate to Western music keys?
Oh boy. For me, okay, when I listen to Western music, generally the main ones are the suite, which is major, and then the sad, which is minor. And Iranians actually have 12 modes, and it's a very subtle thing that happens. Different feelings are created with these modalities. And I think even in Liz Draper's favorite, where we started off in a major key, I went to actually 3 different, what do we call them, Morkab, Navazi, modulations. So I modulated 3 different places. Actually 4. I did 4 there. But it's very subtle. So I don't think of Western music as having the sweet and sour. Sweet and sad, happy, sad is more like it.
Okay. Looks like while we're waiting for some more questions, I'd like to hear, Dan, how exactly did you get started? What was your interest in Persian music particularly? When did that happen for you, and what was the impetus behind that?
Okay, I started down this road really because of Ravi Shankar in the 60s, and I started going for these drone modal music, and I had actually gotten a Turkish instrument that is related to the Iranian Setar from a Turk in college. And I played around with that, but it didn't really hit until I met an Iranian man at the University of Minnesota, and we became friends. We did some radio shows together, and I started seeing, the depth of this music. And so and that was almost 30 years ago. So I studied with him, and I studied with people in Iran. I went there twice, and also masters in Canada and the U.S. as well. Does that answer it for you?
I think so. Do you want to share the name of this person who turned you on to Persian music, or is it a secret?
Well, actually, no. What's interesting is I actually heard of Iranian music before because of my radio show, and I was playing music. I started seeing first the Middle Eastern influence on Arabic and Middle Eastern influence on medieval music, and my radio show was medieval music. And then some of these performers started using Arabic performers and Iranian ones, and I was just hungry for all kinds of sounds. And what was so interesting is when I did meet this young man, his name is Ali Zarin, he studied with Majid Kiani, and I actually happened to have a record of his teacher. When he called me, I had been playing it, and I was surprised that he could hear it over the phone and identify who it was, but that was his master. And so that led me down this long, crazy road that I'm still on.
Okay. As sort of a lead-in into advertising our next event, I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about your recent translation of Omar Khayyam that you worked on with Mahdi Ahmadi.
Right, and it's funny because when I was first going to be a part of the Culture Week, Jeremy thought I was going to be singing and playing Khayyam. And for many, many years, I, with numerous people, was working on the poetry of Khayyam. And first I just sang it in Farsi. And then friends started helping me translate it. And it was Mahdi. And it was actually started as a joke there. I started singing first in Farsi, then in English for my wife one day. And she peeked around the corner and said, that just might work. And so, and in the process, and it was sheerly by accident that Mahdi was helping me with these poems that I was singing. And then there was one point, and Mahdi is very particular about the words and the meanings, and some words have numerous meanings, and to get the correct translation. And then there was one point he just said, well, maybe we should just continue and do a book. And so it basically happened probably over a couple years. And I mean, it's really fascinating to have Mahdi sit there and word for word take this language and then sit sometimes and talk about the layers of meaning sometimes. So, and I mean, I still work with Hayam, you know. Go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of Mahdi, I'm not sure if this is the same Mahdi, but we have a question for Mahdi. Which tradition in Iranian music do you belong to? Where do you put your work in Iranian music tradition?
Oh, boy. Okay. Up until a few years ago, I would say I played very traditionally. And I played as my masters and teachers taught me. And a few years ago, I started, you know, and it was through another Iranian friend asking the question, where are you in this? And so I started going, well, what has meaning, what has feeling for me? And I started improvising a lot more. And there was improvisation before. But like what you heard tonight really was, I used what I learned in the tradition, and some people could recognize certain things I was referencing. But with Chris and I, we bend it, we pull it, we stretch it. I'm reacting to him, and I just let it go sometimes. So I don't really belong in any tradition right now. I feel like I'm going for something with some feeling, and that's why, you know, with Chris, finding someone who can, a lot of Iranian music has no meter, and to find someone who can play in those spaces and react and create has just been you know, a fascinating journey for me. So it's not really part of a tradition. So I guess we're on a new road, I think.
I'm going to give people about 60 seconds to get their hands up or post their questions. We'd really like to have a few more if anybody's got something going on. While we're waiting, I will remind people that tomorrow, Wednesday at 5:30 p.m., we do have Juan Cole on to talk about his new translation of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. And I've posted a link to both the Zoom link and a link to the Facebook website event in the chat. So, and I don't see any more hands, so I guess people are shy this evening. With that, is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up, Dan or Chris?
Well, I'd just like to, you know, thank you guys for the opportunity of sharing our music, you know, because it's in a way, it's something Chris and I started, and, you know, we actually had a few gigs booked, and then COVID hit, and as you know, it changed everything, and that's why it's amazing the Cultural Week is actually happening online. And so we just want to thank you, you know, for giving this opportunity of us sharing our music with you.
And we thank you as well.
You want to add, Chris? Well, thank you. And yeah, please do check out Juan Cole. You know, anytime somebody is done a translation and talks about the poetry of Omar Khayyam, definitely take advantage of it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dan. Thank you so much to Dan and Chris for an amazing performance. Also, behind the scenes, we had Josh and Reed, who are helping out with the technical side and did a great job. So I thank them as well. And thank you to everyone who joined us this evening. I hope you enjoyed the performance, and I hope we'll also see you tomorrow night for Juan Cole. Good night, everybody.
Thanks again.
Shab Bekhair.